Hey parents, it's Mr. Jim here. This back to school season, give your kids the tools they need to have fun while they learn with Osmo. Osmo's Reading Adventure Learn to Read game is an interactive tool for kids 5 to 7 that help them practice and develop reading fundamentals. Because it's never too early to fall in love with reading, visit playosmo.com to check out the Reading Adventure new reader kit today. That's playosmo.com. Osmo, learning well played. Hey parents, we all know that feeling of heading back to school, right? That exciting time for new pencils and fresh starts. But what about fresh lunch ideas? Boar's Head has been going back to school for over 115 years, so they know all about packing the perfect lunchbox with uncompromising quality and all-time family favorites like Ever Roast, oven roasted chicken breast, maple glazed honey-coated ham, and American cheese. Boar's Head makes packing lunch easy and delicious. Look for Boar's Head at your local deli counter and learn more at boarshead.com/back-to-school. Boar's Head, compromise elsewhere. Hello friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kid Short Stories. Today's story comes to us from Oscar and Harley. Hey guys, they sent me an awesome idea for a story and you can too. Just head over to kidshortstories.com, send me your idea and maybe we'll turn it into an awesome adventure. Are you guys ready for a trip to the beach where we save some shrimps from hungry birds? Me too, let's go! Beep, beep, beep. Whoa, what was that? Shouted Oscar. It's our alarm. It's time, shouted Harley. Oscar and Harley had just woken up from their alarm. Do you know what that alarm meant? Well, 1, it was time to wake up. But 2, it was time to go on vacation. Oscar and Harley had been waiting for this day for a very long time. Their family was going on a trip to the beach. But this time, they were flying in an airplane to get there. They had already packed their bags last night. Oscar and Harley scarfed down their breakfast and their whole family loaded up in the car and off they drove to the airport. They were both so excited. It felt like the drive was taking forever, but it actually wasn't even that long. As they were driving, they were just imagining all the things that they were going to do on the beach. Oscar said, I'm gonna ride the biggest wave on my boogie board. Whoa, that does sound pretty awesome. I'm gonna build the biggest sandcastle in the whole wide world, said Harley. Those were both great ideas. Pretty soon, they saw the airport up ahead. They parked the car, got their bags, and started to walk into the airport. Have you ever been to an airport before? It is a very cool place. You have to stay together as a family so that you don't get lost because there's a lot of people there. And you have to go through security. Who knows what security is? Yes, that is where they check our bags just to make sure we're following all the rules because there's a lot of rules in airports. And they put our bags through an X-ray machine. Yes, it is super cool. Just from a picture, they can see everything in the bags to make sure that everything is safe. And so you load up your bags on that track, it goes through, they take a picture of it, make sure that everything is great. Then you walk through a special scanner and you're good to go. All right, Oscar and Harley, make sure you grab your stuff. We got to head to our gate. Oscar and Harley both grabbed their bags and they were very excitedly following behind their parents. We're at gate, what does that say? On the board, there's a list of all the flights, every single flight happening today. And so you have to look for the city of where you're going, and then it tells you what gate that you're at, the place that your airplane is waiting for you. It says C4. All right, we have to find C. So those signs say that A and B are that way, and C is to the right. All right, let's go, shouted Harley. She had figured it all out. C was this way. As they followed all the signs for C, they started seeing C8, C7, C6, C5, C4. That's us, said Oscar. They finally made it to the gate, and now they just needed to wait. That rhymes, gate and wait. Well, Oscar and Harley were so excited. They saw the airplane sitting out through the window, and pretty soon, their group was called. We need group number 4 to start loading. On everyone's ticket, there's a different group for boarding. And so you might be in group 1 or group 5 or group 7. And when they call that your group is time for boarding, then it is time to enter the plane. All right, let's go, Oscar and Harley, said their parents. They got onto their airplane and found their seats and buckled up, and it was time for takeoff. It had been a long time since they'd been on an airplane before, but don't worry, it is pretty noisy when you're taking off because the airplane has to go really fast, so the engines get very loud. And that sound means that the airplane is working. That's a good thing. And it might be a little bumpy, but that's totally normal. As the plane lifts up off the ground, we're headed to the clouds, shouted Harley. She loved looking out the window as the plane was flying and just imagining all the fun that they were about to have at the beach. This plane flight was 2 hours long. So what do you think you could do while you're sitting on an airplane for 2 hours? What are some fun things to do on an airplane? Well, one, like Harley's already doing, and Oscar too, they like looking out the windows of the airplane because you can see all the hills and trees and water and houses. No matter where you're flying, there's always something amazing to look at, as long as the clouds aren't in your way, because then it's hard to see the ground. So if the clouds are in your way from seeing, what else could you do on an airplane? Yeah. You could bring some paper and some markers or crayons to color. You could bring some books to read and look at. Maybe a couple small toys to play with. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things that you can do right in your seat on the airplane.
Shh. We are clear for landing. Please make sure your tables are in their upright position and your seatbelts fastened.
Shh. That was the pilot speaking. He talks sometimes while you're flying to give special instructions, like to say, hey, we're about to land. You need to sit down and fasten your seatbelt. And when they say your table's in their upright position, that means when you're sitting in front of you, there's a little table that you can lay down to put, your toys or your paper, and that's what you're coloring on. But when we're landing or taking off, you have to make sure that that's all the way up. It is very important to follow all the instructions and rules while on an airplane. Oscar and Harley did everything perfectly. They fastened their seatbelts and put those little tables up. They could feel the rumble underneath them as the wheels for the airplane came down. Yeah, that's the landing gear. The landing gear is what helps an airplane land on the ground. Because if they didn't have those wheels and tires, that would be a pretty rough landing. So good thing we have wheels on our airplane. When you're getting closer to the ground and you feel that rumbling, just remember that is the landing gear coming down, and that's exactly what you want to feel. Oh, is everything okay? Oscar was a little nervous. Yeah, that's just the landing gear, remember? Said Harley. Oh yeah, it just sometimes gets really bumpy and it makes me nervous, said Oscar. As their plane approached its landing, they could see the beach right out their window. Look at that, shouted Harley. Oscar and Harley couldn't believe it. As the plane landed and they grabbed their bags to leave the airplane, their adventures had only just begun. Hey friends, I need your help celebrating a birthday. This birthday kid's name starts with a K and ends with an N. Get your guesses ready. Drum roll, please. Happy birthday, Cohen! Woo! Turning 7 years old. Cohen has one younger brother, Jack, and a baby sister, Olive, but Cohen loves playing with Legos and swimming. Oh, I love it. Well, Cohen, I'm so glad that we could celebrate your birthday on the show. I hope it's not only a super duper day for you, but I hope you have the best birthday ever. And friends, you know what time it is. It's time for Kid Shoutouts. I want to say hey to Elena from Greenville, South Carolina, McKenna from Florida, Sully from Maryland, Theo and Ellie from New York, Etta and Alma from Minnesota, Harper from Iowa, Eleonora from Vermont, Forrest from Oregon, and Oliver from Utah. I'm so glad that you're all in the Kid Short Stories family. And on the Spy team, we could not stop Dr. Stinky Breath and his crew without you, my friends. Well, you have a super duper day, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye!